to record to this computer. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic, everyone. Thursday afternoon, 2:30, and here we are on Top of Mind. So welcome everyone to Top of Mind. This is really, I get a real kick out of doing this every single Thursday. My apologies for not being able to host last particular week, but I am feeling better. So thank you very much for everyone's concern. You know, I host this forum for a number of reasons. We got a chat coming up right here. Let me do this. I host this for a number of reasons, and part of it is for, you know, like-minded investors and people that are interested in real estate investing to be able to come on and to be able to, you know, learn and share. I'm just muting a few people as I go across right here. It's a great way to network, resource, and we also have investors here that, you know, are all across the country. So I see Chris Bucci's on the line. Chris, congratulations on your recent property. It looks gorgeous, by the way. I saw the visuals you posted up the other day. So Chris is all the way on, you know, the West Coast. He's on Vancouver Island. And then we have individuals as far as the East Coast. I see Ryan has joined us here. Ryan's a New Brunswick guy, so he's representing the East Coast. I don't think we have anyone as far as Nova Scotia yet. So I think it ends with you today, Ryan. I think you're as far.
That's the most important. That's the most important. We're not really worried about Nova Scotia.
So super, super cool. And then Stacy's joining us. How you doing, Stacy? And I see Eve, and we've got James. I'm not sure if I know your wife there, James. I'm going to unmute you for one quick second.
We're brand new to Keithfire, so I think it's under my name, which is Catherine, which is not what I go by. I go by Tasha.
Okay.
We've been and Jim. We've been intently listening to all the Michael Coffee sessions every morning, and saw this on our Keithfire feed and thought, the more education, the better. We have contracted on our first property. We joined Keithfire at the end of January. So
wow.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, congratulations and welcome, and you know, welcome to the Keithfire family and the community, as well as to, you know, the real estate investment community. I'm going to put you back on mute here, and I'll just keep going a little bit. I said hi to Eve, Andrew. Good afternoon. Nice to see you, and Cheryl. Nice to see you as well. I hope that you're doing better and you're feeling better. I know we're both fighting, so you know, I hope that that things are starting to turn around. So I was saying a little bit, I really enjoy hosting this, and I've been doing it now for 6 weeks. So this is episode number 6. So woohoo on that one. Much like Jim and Kasha. Yes, just said, I've been watching all the online content, and it's been fantastic. I watched the Coffee with Michael session this morning. That was amazing. And it just seems I'm trying to gobble up as much as I can. And it's been good for me right now because I've had tons of downtime to kind of just turn on videos and watch. But today I've invited a couple of investors to be able to join and speak with us. And these are investors that I'm definitely intrigued by. I've got a lot of interest in what they're doing. I see how active they are. I know that they're working very hard right now on setting up their business and putting all of their puzzle, all the pieces into the puzzle. And I thought it would be a great session today to invite these two ladies on. They're both based in the Quebec market, so it's a little bit different. I know we get Ontario people that pop on, and then from the West we get people, and from the East, but typically we haven't had anyone from the Quebec marketplace speaking about their markets, Montreal, different areas, that sort of thing. And I also wanted them to really talk about what they're doing right now in terms of setting up their business and the steps that they're taking to be able to get themselves, you know, into that state where they feel that they've got kind of all the tools in the toolbox and ready to go. So I'll start off, and I believe that you're both unmuted. So it's Adele that's joining us, as well as Jessica. And why don't I give you both just a couple of minutes, a little bit. Adele, maybe you can start off and introduce yourself, give us a little bit of a background, and then Jessica will do the same with you. And then I'd love to talk about how the partnership started and kind of how that formed. But Adele, I'll let you speak to the audience and share a little bit of your background and your story for us.
Perfect. So first of all, we're from Montreal, so bonjour, everybody. I am actually a Keithfire member also since 2016. You mentioned Keithfire there. And I'm a real estate investor. It's been, I bought my first property 29 years ago. And I'm going to try to speed it up because I know we're only have an hour, but I learned very quickly when I bought that first triplex that we could actually live for either free or for very little money out of pocket every month when you buy a property with rental income. And from there, it sort of started this love for real estate and income properties. And I've been doing it now for 29 years. I have a few properties from 2 to 12 units. We just closed on a 12 last month. We're working on a 3 now, offer accepted, and currently put an offer on a much, much bigger one, but that's just right. The offer is in right now. We're waiting to see what happens. So what I've learned is that nobody is alone in real estate investing. So Jessica and I, actually both of us are real estate investors through Keyspire members, that was what I wanted to say. Keyspire members, we're part of Corey and Tiffany's Ignited team, which REI is part of that group also. We are members of the Mel and Dave investors, Investor Mel and Dave. I'm sure you guys heard about them, the 12 and 12. So we're continuously
you forgot one, Adele. We're also in Dave Dubois' program.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I posted one day that we're in so many courses, I'm forgetting which ones I'm in. And I'm in the Tony Robbins Knowledge Blueprint course. So I don't know. And I work 50 hours a week. So don't ever say it can't be done, right? For me, anyway, knowledge is very important. You got to keep updated. And every one of these groups offers something different, right? So Keyspire is a big machine that has like brought Jessica and I together. That's how we met. And I laughed because I said I could be her mother. She's only a couple years older than my kids, but very wise for her young age. And we complement each other. You know, that's how that happened. We met because Jessica started the Montreal group of Keyspire members, so we can meet up here locally. And so then since then, we started talking, and we were on the same page. So even though there's like a lot of years between us, like 20 something years, we were on the same page. We had common goals. It was like I was looking at myself at a younger age. So hats off to her for starting earlier than I did, or moving faster anyway. And now we're getting very, very busy with, we incorporated a company. So we're business partners and friends, along with our husbands. And it's, how can I say, time consuming, because you got to put so much pieces of these puzzles together to make it all work, right? And social media has gotten really big. You know, there's all the platforms, and then which platform, do you use all the platforms? Do you skip one of them? Like, I'm just learning about TikTok, and what is that? So I don't know what that is yet. My daughter shows me videos, but so we're all, you know, make sure you're on Instagram, make sure you're on Facebook, make sure you do some lives, make sure you put yourself out there. But then you need a website. You can't forget any of them, because then you missed an audience somewhere that's a different age group or a different, anyway, we're trying to learn as we go. So we make some mistakes. We're not on top of everything all the time. But what we learned from having all these mentors is just be out there. And one of my mentors told me that imperfection is much more important. Take action on imperfection instead of waiting for the whatever it is, the content, the video, or whatever, to be perfect. You're never going to put it out there if you're going to wait to put it out there perfectly. So just get it out. Doesn't matter if you stumble. It doesn't matter if the picture doesn't look perfect and it isn't filtered perfectly. Just put yourself out there and be authentic. And I think I could say that Jessica and I are, like, I mean, we're just regular folk. And everybody can do real estate if that's what they really want to do. It's accessible to everybody. And as I keep saying to everyone all the time, there's enough to go around. It just doesn't have to be a competitive kind of industry. And REI, I see you in a couple of the groups that we're in. And everybody's doing their own thing. And, you know, there's the ones that like the single family homes, they're the ones that like multiplexes. And the encouragement that I see in these groups, the different ones we're in, it's so beautiful to see the communities come together and everybody encourage everybody else. And I don't get, you know, like, I don't know, how did I say, Michael mentioned it today also, about competitiveness. I don't get that in the groups. I get a lot of support, and I see that everybody's supporting everybody else, and where one is weak, someone will offer advice because they happen to have more experience. And I think knowledge empowers us all. And it's been a couple of years now that we've been buried in courses, but we're coming out stronger for it, right? So that's a bit of our story, and we're continuing to grow our real estate business. Myself and my husband have the properties we had before we met Jessica, but now we are going in it as a team, so we're purchasing together.
Okay, fantastic. Let's pause there for a second. And you gave us a ton of great information. And I agree with one of the things you said implicitly, which is progress is better than perfection. It's better to make progress than always trying to make it 100% perfect and worried about what if it's not exactly the way I want it before I get it out there. And I think that worry holds a lot of people back right there.
Yes.
So thanks very much for putting that out there. But let's switch over to Jessica. So tell us a little bit about your background, your story, Jessica, and then help us understand. So Keyspire brought you two together, but then bring us the link. What was it that really made you and Adele to be able to decide, great, as two investors, we can now come together, and you guys have got your own company now. So let's talk about your background and then bring us into that partnership.
Yes. So my husband and I joined Keyspire in 2017. So for us, we had really good jobs. We had brand new condo. We were traveling, doing everything that we wanted, no worries. Did the most expensive trip that we've ever done and came back, and 3 weeks later, my husband lost his job. And this was also 3 weeks before Christmas. So that was a major lifestyle change that we had to go through. So we didn't want to be in that position ever again. So we decided to look into other avenues, which is how we found real estate. And Scott McGilvery came to Montreal, so we went. We loved what he had to say, and my husband's parents had multiplexes, so they had a lot of experience with that, and they were very successful with that. So with that, we went to the workshop. We loved it. Matt Williams was the trainer. He was an amazing trainer. So we joined Keyspire, went to the summit, but at the time we didn't have money. My husband was in school full-time. I was working full-time supporting us. So he was doing a career change. So it was hard for us to get started when we joined Keyspire because all the money we did have was spent on the Keyspire membership. So we went to the summit. We were trying to be working partners, but we had difficulties because we didn't have the experience. So we were having trouble finding partners for that. So we decided to start a local networking group because Montreal was not, there's not that many things that were going on in Montreal. So we decided to start that. So this way we could at least make a name for ourselves, even if we couldn't buy anything. Why not make a name for ourselves and start a group, create ourselves a network, which we've managed to do. So our group is actually at about 200 people now of members that are not necessarily just in Montreal. And we have a lot of great connections across Canada now with different Keyspire vendors and starting to get local vendors as well. So by doing that, we've done investments with our RSP. So we did a private lend with our RSPs. We've invested with Equiton as well. And we purchased a home, which we're flipping to ourselves.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, I mean, that's quite a story, right? So coming from, that younger life stage, right? And you definitely had some hurdles, right? But you saw the opportunity and, you made the investments and you pushed forward. So let's take it to the next step, which is, okay, great. So you've gotten yourself started, that sort of thing. How did you and Adele connect? And what was it that made that connection? What was the spark, or what was the you've got some skills, I've got the other skills, I think we can work together and really form a partnership and ultimately put a business together?
So when we first started the group, we started the group in July 2017, and Adele and Craig had come a couple of times. And then when did you stop coming? I think a couple of months after, right?
Yeah, we took like a little break from the I don't remember, maybe a year. Well, during your mat leave.
Yeah, so that's true. We took about a break at the same time because then I have a 1-year-old son. So I took about a 9-month break, and someone else had managed the group for us while we were adjusting to being new parents. So that was a whole other change in our lives. So we came back in September to start the group, and we came back with bringing guest speakers every month and all these things. And Adele actually had started coming back to the event. So we started talking, and then we were chatting almost every night until like past midnight on Facebook. So I know my husband, every time he's like, "You're talking to Adele again?" So we were chatting a lot. And then we were also looking at doing things together, possibly a JV together. But Adele is very hands-on. So in the end, we decided, my husband actually said as a joke, why don't we just start a company together? Because we work, like they had come over to our house for brunch. We were like, the 4 of us got along really well, and we all have different strengths. Their experience, they have all the experience that we could learn so much from Adele and Craig, which for us was such an amazing opportunity for us, and we get along so well. So for us, it was a no-brainer. It started off kind of as a joke, and then when we thought about it, we're like, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Fantastic. That's great, right? And so much of the time it's right. It's those two parties coming together and finding the mutual benefits and strengths in each other to be able to move that forward, either in a joint business or a joint venture or starting a business. So here's the time to plug it. So tell us about, Adele, I'll go over to you. So tell us about what is your business name and tell us what your focus is. You know, the floor is yours. Plug away.
Well, thank you. Okay, so the business name is REI for real estate investor. So REI Vision. And we struggled with this, and I go back to yourself and your wife mentioned this about the company name not being anything complicated. And, you know, we tried to think of different things. And then our issue here is that in Quebec, name has to be French because the headquarters is Quebec, right? So when you go register the company name, and it's harder. Like, then it doesn't work for the Anglos, and we're like, oh my God, our partners are going to be from everywhere. So Vision is Vision, and it kind of worked. And REI isn't French, but nobody knows what REI is, so it doesn't matter. They're just initials, right? But it is about our vision and what we see ourselves growing. We are joint venture working partners, and we have tons of experience. For example, I have, like I said, I purchased my first property in 1991. So every single property I've purchased since then, we've made some sort of renovation, some sort of improvement, gained huge equity, refinanced properties, bought properties with zero money down. So as we have so much knowledge in different areas of real estate, and we're like, and as Jessica said, she was trying to nicely say I'm older than she is. So all these years of experience, I mean, amount to something when you put it all together. For example, we're talking about renovations. Her and Etienne have done a beautiful job revamping completely gutting their kitchen in their home, and it's like night and day. And I'm like, I remember when I didn't have the money to remodel a kitchen, so I had to think out of the box because the structure of the cabinets were very, very good. So we resurfaced it instead, you know. And I'm like, but I've never lent RSPs to anybody. And Jessica and Etienne have done the RSP lending and the Equiton stuff. We've done more physical brick and mortar purchasing of buildings, which, you know, so it was like a balance of, oh, you've done the RSP thing, whereas we've done land development with Greybrook, and we've done buildings, you know. They've done, and she has a good tip on RSPs, their lending and stuff. So, and it was when it came together, when you put it on the table, like as if you were putting puzzle pieces on the table, we each brought a different puzzle piece, but that came together beautifully to make this company called REI Vision. And we have the vision. We know where we want to go. We know what we could do for our partners. We know our strengths. And we've been very successful with the properties we've purchased and then refinanced, or, you know, how can I say, we've lifted them all to be so much more than when we purchased them. So I'm like, we could do this for other people. And we are number crunchers. Like, we're like the crazy real estate ladies, where we spend hours and hours and hours in the evenings and weekends crunching numbers. And we love it. Like, we think that's fun. So, you know, and when they don't work, we call it the matrix of death, because a lot of the stuff we have plugged into our matrix, everything dies. So, and we're like, why don't we do this for other people? We have a knack for finding property that cash flows or that does well. Different markets are different, right? So either cash flows or you have equity, but like, we could do this for other people because we have the knowledge. And I myself love, there's a joke about me that I have verbal diarrhea when it comes to real estate. And I love helping the newbies and the Keyspire members, the Montreal members here. You know, I have wonderful messages from people saying how I've helped them. And that's what I want to do. I want to help people who have less experience, just to guide them, you know, and it's so doable. Like, there's frustrations along the way. There's quite a few things that you think you cannot do, but you just don't have the right tools. You can do them. You just need somebody to tell you, you know what, try it this way instead. And a little bit of guidance from somebody with a little bit more experience makes a world of difference. And your can't becomes can, you know. It's just, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And that comes with, you know, knowledge and being older and wiser, I like to say. So the company is this, it's a joint venture partnership, and we are the working partners.
So that's fantastic. That's a great overview. And again, like you touched upon a lot of key things in there, and part of it is working with people that have got the experience, right, to be able to move yourself forward. And I know that I'm doing that in my business, and it's part of my philosophy out there, which is it's not always the knowing the how to do something, it's the who can do that thing. So by being able to tap into that who instead of the how, two things can happen. Number one, you can remove barriers, which allows you to continue to move forward, and it continues to have your momentum, and that's only good things that are going on right there. But the second one is it mitigates your risk and as well as your worry, where you're not so much concerned about, am I doing it wrong? Am I taking the wrong steps? Or what don't I know at this point in time? By working with individuals that have gone through the process, that have got the experience, it really does offer you multiple benefits, and you're learning at the same time. You're learning as you're doing. And I'm very much a learner or a person that learns by doing out there. So let's just pause for a moment right here. So now you've established the business, you understand what each one of you brings to the table, you've got the vision out there. So let's just talk a little bit about, I want to talk about the market in the Montreal area and where you like to buy your properties, and then I want to find out why. But let's just talk about some of the things that it takes to be able to get your business set up and what you've been working on. And I know that you've been working hard. I see the posts. Recently, you've put together I believe what's called a credentials package. So maybe you could walk us through some of the fundamentals that you've been working on to be able to put your quote unquote business together, get your toolbox, and what those things are. So we've got some experienced and some new people. Walk us through some of those steps.
So the credibility, oh, go ahead, Jessica, go.
So the credibility package is something that we learned from the Ignited program. So what's great with all the programs that we're doing is that we're able to take the bits and pieces and apply to what it is that we want in our business and our goals and things like that. So the credibility package that we've put together is great because it's really showing our experience. It's showing what is our why. Why are we doing this? Why would you want to partner with us? What makes us a good partner for you? So we have, it's pretty much like a resume. So if you want to partner with us, we have everything outlined, why you should partner with us. We have all our experience, our education. So we think it's good to share that because it's a partnership, right? So for those of you who watch Corey and Tiffany, they often say it's like dating. It's a marriage contract almost going into a JV partnership. So we think it's important to have that information because it is a long-term relationship, right? So we spent a lot of time on that. And the fact that we're two couples, we did struggle a lot with how much personal stuff do we put, how much professional stuff, and that right combination so that it tells the right story of what we want to show our partners. So that's something that we've been working on a lot, the social media. So making live videos on Facebook is completely out of our comfort zone. That is, we were challenged by quite a few people to do it. So we started doing it, I think, about 2 weeks ago. Not completely consistent yet, but we're trying to be more and more out there. But it's definitely, it's like Adele said earlier, it's that mental block that you want it to be perfect, but it will never be perfect. It's just better to do it. So
we are our own worst critics, right? I mean, we really are.
Our own worst critics?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time, right? I rewatch these and I think about, wow, I didn't even answer a question, or I got totally off topic, and I've rewatched these so many times, and hopefully I'm getting better and my attention and focus stays a little bit more. If I go way off, I'm going to blame the COVID this time around. I'm going to say I was at the end of my COVID. Okay, so we talked about the credibility package and how important that is. You've talked about establishing some awareness on social media. So Adele, give us some of the ideas or the importance. Why be on social media? What does that do for you out there? And how have you found it beneficial for the business?
Well, it's to reach out, right? I mean, how else? There's no, what were they called before? The yellow pages? It's the yellow pages of today. I don't know. Am I dating myself? Are you laughing at me?
I remember those, we used to get them, right? They'd send the books to your houses, all that sort of thing.
Yes. So, but how else are you going to find anybody now? You can't look them up in a book, right? So it's social media. And whether it's just Google or actual, somebody just.
What are the yellow pages?
Who is that? That's not nice now. So, but that's what it is. It's a directory, right? To find the people that you need. So if you needed a plumber, you'd look in the yellow pages. If you need somebody in real estate and you know you're a financial partner, or whether you're a working partner or whatever, it doesn't matter what you are. How do I find people that are like-minded people? How do I find people who have the same mindset and are already where I want to go, or are on their way there, and I want to join them on this path, right? So here in this community, even the people on here on this live today, Raymond, it's like we're all like-minded people. We're all real estate lovers. We all want to grow our portfolios. We all probably want to leave legacies behind, or leave, you know, a nice portfolio for our children, or take care of our parents. It doesn't matter which way the generations go, younger or older. How else are you going to find these people to grow with if you're not on social media? And I find for myself, what's difficult with real estate, as opposed to, I don't know, if you have a bakery or you paint for a living, is that there's a financial aspect to it, right? So I found that very difficult because I'm a very private person. And I find, and the way I was brought up, and it was like, you don't put that stuff out there. You don't say out there in public that you have 6 properties or 7 properties or whatever it is, because I don't know, it's just not something I was raised to do. So I found that very difficult. But you can't grow, and you know the law of attraction, right? So whatever you put out there, it comes back to you tenfold. And that's what's starting to happen with the social media. You need to put yourself out there to find the people you want to work with. You need to put yourself out there so people that need you can find you. And I believe that helping others, it's all karma. That also comes back. And it just feels right to help other people. And it's just, you just mentioned about being sidetracked. Now I'm going to get sidetracked. So you need to be on social media nowadays to be in the yellow pages of today. You just, that's the only way to find people and to communicate. The nice thing is that that's where you can chat with them. This is how you can reach out. And this is, so somebody, even myself, I've gone onto social media and did a search in whether it's on Facebook or whatever, because I was looking for something, and then you use that word as to search. It's there for you. This is the beauty of social media. And, or you remember that Raymond made a comment about something, and you'll go to Raymond's page and you find the comment you were looking for, because that's what you needed at that moment, or somebody asked you for that. That's all social media doing that. So it's bringing people to you, it's bringing you to them, and it's bringing people together. And if it's done right, it could be a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Okay, so we've got good business sense, we've got great experience, we've got 2 parties that have come together, we've got now focus on the business overall, we've got awareness on social media, people can reach out to you. Let's talk a little bit about your market, because as I said, I believe this is the first time that I've had someone from the Quebec marketplace, and I know Quebec's a big province, so maybe you don't do all of it, but let's talk a little bit about your market, and let's talk about the types of properties that you really look to go after. And then I've got one more, which is joint venture comes to you and says, great, we want to work with you. Is it something where you guide them down the road, or are you asking them what kind of property? But let's start first with talking about your market, where you like to invest and why, and what some of the benefits are in that Quebec and the Montreal areas.
So we're actually not limiting ourselves to Quebec. We're of the mindset of investing where returns are best. So anyone who's in Keyspire knows that Michael says that quite often. And it makes sense. So we're going based on what our vision is and what our partners are looking for, because some partners prefer cash flow and some prefer equity. So those are completely different markets as well. And Adele does have experience with properties in other provinces other than Quebec. So the Montreal market is great. It's an amazing market for appreciation, equity in the buildings, but it's not the best for high cash flow. So you'll still get some cash flow, but depending on what your priority is, that's what we're going to go look for our partners. And as well as for the properties that we're planning on purchasing ourselves, based on our long-term goals, is where we're going to adjust on the different markets. So we're looking actually across Canada, not just Montreal.
Fantastic. So you'll go right across the map, right? East to west, wherever you feel the investment really is best returns.
best returns, and as well as where we have teams. So we
Yes.
do have teams already in different provinces, and we're always expanding our network. We're building teams across the country so that we can be working partners anywhere in Canada, wherever the returns are best for what the partners are looking for.
Fantastic. So again, for some of the new viewers, Jessica, tell us a little bit about what does that comprise of when you say teams? Like, what do you have in these other provinces that makes you effective?
So we have the realtors, we have property managers, and with the realtors and property managers, we're able to access their network. So they have like the vendors, so the roofers, they'll have the appraisers. So we're able, by building those relationships, we also have access to their networks. And these are relationships that we're building through the different programs that we're in with other mentees. So we're able to access that network with the friendships that we've made. And it's people that we can trust because we're going through the program together. So we're all learning the same thing. We're all speaking the same language.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about, so let's say I'm a money partner, right? I'd like to own real estate. I'd like to be able to, have the benefits of cash flow. I'd like to be able to, see equity down the road kind of thing, but I don't know anything about finding a property. I don't know anything about renovating a property. But I come to you and I say, great, I've talked to my mortgage broker. He says I can qualify, for a property, let's say up to $750,000. Let's just use that number as a number out there. I've got the available, sorry, the bedroom's falling apart. Got the downstroke, but what happens next? I don't know what I want to buy. How do I figure out what a good investment is? How do I know what good cash flow is versus bad? How do I know if I want to do a duplex versus a multi-unit building? So give me a little bit of the process that you, Adele and Jessica, you work together with those money partners on to be able to really kind of define what that path might be, and as you start to go into the markets and search.
Well, first of all, like we said before, I think Jessica mentioned, it's like dating, right? So before I start asking you if you're interested in having children, or which religion are we going to raise them, if any, and which area of town or the country do we want to live in, before we get there, we need to get to know each other. So, and this is why the credibility package we prepared, and we do have two different kinds, only because one is for JV, and we also buy properties with private lenders. So we have they're two completely different documents, but we do have a questionnaire that we prepared for the money partner, because I put myself on that side too. And I'm like, which I have been. And I said, look, I want to be asked these questions, and I want to know that these people have my best interests at heart. And joint ventures has to be, there's no alternative, has to be a win-win for everybody. Okay? So when we start asking the questions, so before, and it doesn't mean we make good JV partners. And I want to say that, because it's not just because somebody comes to you with money that it's an accepted partnership. We have to be on the same page. We have to understand each other. We need to even like the person. I'm going to go as far as saying like the person, right? Now everybody's going to take this the wrong way, but if you don't like the person, you can't date them, right? And we're going to be doing this together. We're going to be talking to each other all the time. Well, I mean, not all the time, but we're going to be talking to each other, but about delicate issues like money. There's property involved. There's mortgages involved. There's your spouse that may be involved that doesn't like what you're agreeing to with us. So we ask a lot of questions, and we want to know where you see this, like 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line. What is your goal? Because if we can't meet your goal, then we're not the right JV partner for you. But if we can, we'll be an excellent JV partner for you, because we are the kind of people, roll up your sleeves and do it. We have done it. We've done it very well. We've built a beautiful portfolio. We have varied experiences, and what we lack in experience, we make sure we're surrounded by expert people, and we have some fantastic people on our team. So dedication is something that to us is very, very important, but trustworthiness and transparency. We are very transparent with anybody that we work with. What you see is what you get, and you ask us the tough questions, we will answer the tough questions. So going back to the questionnaire we prepared, which is like a preliminary, I've never been on a dating site, so I wouldn't even know if this is the terminology is correct, but it's like a questionnaire you fill out before to swipe left or right. And it's the basic questions, but it'll be sensitive questions like, how much money do you have? How big do you want to go? Are you looking only for single family homes? Do you want 15 single family homes, or do you want one big 30 unit building? How picky are you about the province or city or neighborhood even, do you need cash flow? Are you looking to replace a job? Because we need to know that number, right? And if that may mean you may be thinking, I want to be Montreal and I need to replace my job and I need $5,000 or $10,000 a month. We might be able to tell you, Montreal is not where you want to be then. If you tell us that you want Montreal and you love your job, you want to continue working for another 5-10 years, and you want to cash out when you're ready to leave your job, then okay, that's a different possibility, right? That's more of a possibility in the big city here. So we listen. The first and most important thing to do is to listen and to find out if you're somebody I want to continue dating or marrying and having children with. And we'll call the little properties the children, you know, and then, and it's a relationship building that builds up to get to somewhere, because it has to be a win-win for both parties. Because on our side, it involves a lot of work. There's a lot of work, and it's work that's not glorious work. It's, you don't see it. So all of the hours that go into the number crunching, finding the property. And in a city like Montreal, where you have 14, 15, 42 offers, the last time one of my friends was buying a property, that's a lot of hours that you're working on trying to put this thing through a matrix, or multiple properties through a matrix, before finding one that's the gem, right? That's all the work that nobody sees. What the partner sees is maybe afterwards, once we sign the papers, and there's the physical building that I can now see and I now own, and now we're going to go and optimize it. And even optimizing, then we start that process, which is a long and strenuous process in itself. But the before and the behind the scenes that don't get seen, I mean, that's a lot of work there. And we want partners that will acknowledge that you're the money partner, but we will work our butts off for you, even when you don't see it.
So I have to say, Adele, like you've touched upon again a couple of things that you know I do in my business, and I think it's fundamentals in the world of joint venture, right? First off, it has to be a relationship that works. And when I start conversations with folks that are interested in joint venturing, it's never about the deal. It's never about the deal or the numbers right away. There has to be a connection there. There has to be a synergy of thoughts. There has to be like-mindedness. There has to be goals. Because without goals, I mean, how do I know that I'm going to be able to service that money partner to the best of my abilities, right? If it's like, well, we just want to buy real estate and we just want to own more, that's great. That's you know, that's a broad stroke kind of statement, but let's get into some goals, right? As you said, is it replacing of an income? Is it building for retirement? You know, is it down the road? Is it legacy wealth? Is it passing this on to children, grandchildren, all those sorts of things? So I 100% agree with you. The fundamentals of the relationship have got to be there, because it really is. You're in for, at least when I look at mine, it's a minimum structure of 5 years that I want to be able to be in that joint venture with that particular partner. And 5 years is not a short period. Sure, I mean, in life, sure, 5 years is short, but you know, you're holding on to major property, major dollars that are going along with it. You know, and as we've seen, right, like when we all look back to January, no one was talking about a pandemic that was about to hit the world and, you know, and shut down, you know, economies globally, kind of thing. No one was talking about that. And here we are, you know, at the end of April now, and hopefully we're starting to come out of this thing from what we're starting to see, right? So some key fundamentals right there. So let's just talk about then a couple of things. There's a couple of questions that are popping up right here. Yeah, Darcy said the yellow pages, so that was a good one, Darcy. But Leanna's got a good question right here. So it's, what other provinces are you investing in? And Jessica, I know you talked about returns, or invest where returns are best, and you said you have other teams, but where else do you have other properties or investments currently right now?
So right now we have, we're in Quebec, Ontario, and we're looking at New Brunswick. We're looking at starting to go out west as well. So we're working on those relationships.
Fantastic, excellent. So I know Ryan he's a New Brunswick man, so he's happy to hear about that. Do you have anything you want to add there, Ryan?
Yeah, actually, Jessica and Adele, if you guys have any questions about the New Brunswick area, just message me. I'd be glad to, you know, share my knowledge and familiarity with the different areas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so feel free to ask.
Networking.
You know, and that's why I like hosting this call on Thursday afternoons, right? It's not just about like bringing two people on and asking questions. It is really about everyone coming together as a community and be able to learn from each other. So you've hit upon some huge fundamentals here today. So it sounds like you're primed for great success out there, right? You've got the experience, you've got the go-get, you've got the knowledge. Let's talk a little bit about the education that you've invested yourselves in. So much like yourselves, I'm a member of Keyspire. I've been a member since 2018. My wife and I also decided to kind of step up our game in the joint venture space. So we're now studying with Corey and Tiffany Young with the Fearless Ignited program, and it's been excellent. You've taken a little bit more. You mentioned Dave DeBaugh, you mentioned Dave and Mel. I've had chats with Dave DeBaugh and Dave and Mel. I'm big fans of theirs as well. So talk to us about the importance of education and how it really benefits you and how it benefits your money partners out there.
Well, all of these that you mentioned these are the real estate related ones. This is not even the ones that are outside real estate that are more like social media related and others, but just to talk about the real estate ones, they all bring very different elements to the table. And I know somebody had asked me, well, why should I take this one if I'm already a Keyspire member? And they're very, very different. So Keyspire and I became a member in 2016. And since then, first of all, you've been at the summit, Raymond. I know you were there with the cookies. The power of those summits is incredible, right? And the people that you meet, and Keyspire being this big machine, and how oh my God, how do I explain Keyspire? I don't know. The other one, so I think Keyspire opened my mind to all this. This is so I'm babbling. I was a real estate investor already, but I was doing it the normal traditional way, like, okay, you buy property, you wait 10 years, you refinance it, buy another one, and whatever. Then I came across Keyspire. I was gonna say I met Scott. I wish, I mean, I did, but anyway.
Yeah, I hear he's got some sort of attractiveness. I've never seen it myself, but like my wife said the same thing, so I was like, okay, I'll take her word.
My husband thinks I dropped that cash just because of Westcott McGillivray. So whatever he says, whatever he's selling, it's okay. Anyway, so it was a big expense, like Jessica said before, but none of what followed would have happened had it not been for Keyspire, because I wouldn't have met the people I met. And that I wouldn't have learned of Corey and Tiffany if it wasn't for Keyspire. I learned about them at when they were on stage at the summit in 2017, I want to say, with their Tic Tac boxes. And so I learned of them through that. And I learned of Mel and Dave. How was that? Through Keyspire came something else. Oh my gosh. So in the end, it all came through Keyspire.
Through the podcast. As we saw Mel and Dave was through Jazz Takar's podcast, REC Experience, which we met through Keyspire. So everything is linked together.
All roads lead back to Keyspire. So it opened up a whole new world. And then, so Corey and Tiffany with their joint venture, and they zone in on that, right? So Keyspire now is very big, and there's lots of information. And I will say those 3-day summits, they're very, very intense because there's so much information coming at you. But then when you go to take these other courses, so now Corey and Tiffany are joint venture. So they're zoning in on just that. That's their expertise. Then there's an investor, Mel and Dave. They're more like, they solely own all their properties, right? So they're like, you own property without any of your money down. Now, I'm a child of immigrants. I was taught you buy property, you pay for it, you work for it, you spend your life paying it down, and then you die, right? So and then Mel and Dave had this whole other theories, like you could buy property 12 and 12 months with none of your own money. Oh my God. So, and Corey and Tiffany are telling me you could also buy property and grow a portfolio for yourself and somebody else as a joint venture. And then we met Dave Dubois, and he was, sorry, I pronounced it the French way. And he says, you need to do this. This is how this is our program. If you follow these steps, and then you could find private lenders, and we're just working out. He taught it, actually, he built our website. He helped us with our website and our social media. And again, I go back to this puzzle of many, many pieces. So, and you're not alone. You're not alone because you have all these teachers, and they're all different. But yet the global picture of owning real estate and changing your life through real estate, they're all doing it in a different way. And it is doable in many different ways for everybody. And depending what suits you, that's the one you follow. But for Jessica and I, we found that a combination of those makes our company, like, here's what we have to offer. It's like, it all came together as a whole. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, because I'm thinking in French and Italian in my head, and it's coming out in English, and I don't know.
It's coming out perfectly. It's coming out really, really well. And I understand what you're saying 100%. But Jessica, I think you had a couple thoughts you wanted to add on there.
Well, that pretty much covered it. We're doing all the courses together. So we sign up for everything together so that we're always on the same page. We do the same homework, the same projects, so that we know that we're always talking the same language. It's just to make sure we're investing in the education so that we learn from other people's mistakes. So for us, it's like another guarantee. Like Adele said, we have the coaches, we have the mentors, we can learn from their mistakes so that we don't repeat those mistakes. And we're learning from the mistakes that we've done on our own experiences. So we have so much knowledge that we have access to, and just the power teams that we have behind us is worth the investment in the education.
That's fantastic. And sorry, go ahead, Adele.
I just wanted to point out that I think anyway that the people we've chosen to be our mentors are the specialists in that area. Like I really truly believe Corey and Tiffany are the experts in joint venturing, and Mel and Dave are the experts in, you know, OPM and VTBs, and that's you understand. Like we didn't just pick anybody because they were pretty or just they had a great business card. These are the experts in their fields. So when we need our mentors, they're there for us. And this is and just because I want to clear something up, Jessica said we take the courses together. We each pay our own fees. If it's like, and we do invest a lot of money in our education, and we don't.
It's okay. We don't have anyone there's no one from the CRA on the line here today, so that's totally fine. But you've talked about invest where returns are best, right? And you've been able to now put in place those teams that are able to facilitate that for yourselves as well as your money partners. But you're also talking about really educating yourself from the best. And I'm a big proponent of this as well. I think if you want to get the best knowledge and the best information, go to the leaders in that particular industry and learn from those individuals, because it only helps you out further on. So a couple questions that have popped up here, and I want to be cognizant of time. One is from Andrew Vamos here. So it's and Ryan, you actually might be able to answer this one. It says, has New Brunswick dropped the double property tax?
So actually, that's actually a very interesting time. No, they haven't dropped it as of yet. The double property tax is a hindrance here, but not as bad as it's made out to be seen, because the property values here are very low in comparison to places like Toronto, obviously, right? Now you're starting to get some appreciation here in Atlantic Canada as more people are moving out from back out west. But since more and more people are finding the place attractive, there's also been more and more voices about that, and there's a lot more people complaining about it and a lot more pressure. So as of this bill that was just tabled, over the next 2 years, they're going to be lowering the double property tax by 50%. Now, they are committing to more. There is a party here that actually wants to completely eliminate it altogether. So it is likely to be eliminated in the next few years, which obviously is going to have a very nice appreciation on the property values, right? So it becomes even more attractive and there's more demand. So yeah, it is in the works. And New Brunswick also tabled the bill to lower the commercial tax rate as well too. So that's the other benefit that they're doing. And this was just passed and it's in the works in the next coming years.
Excellent, excellent. That's great, Ryan. That's fantastic. For those in Ontario right here, and Adele and Jessica, I'm sure you're familiar with it as well, as you've invested in Ontario. You know, you pay 2 land transfers tax in this particular province. If you're in the Toronto area, you pay a land transfer tax, and then you also pay a provincial. So it's you know, if you buy and sell property in the Toronto area, right? And I know Leanna, she's a flipper, right? She's Ontario based, but does a little bit more in the Kitch, Waterloo, Cambridge area is, I think, your wheelhouse. But regardless, right, you're buying property in Toronto, right? You're paying a land transfer tax, and then you're paying the provincial one. So I was chatting with someone the other day, and they were saying, you know, I'm thinking about maybe in a couple of years, maybe I'll sell the condo that I have up at Yonge and Eglinton, and then I'll go buy another property. And I said, whoa, 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 we don't sell, we hold property as much as we can. Let's refinance that property. Let's pull out equity, because once you've paid that double tax on its own, I mean, the government takes such a big bite out of your profits, right? You kind of say, well, why did I even sell that? Sure, I got some of my money out of it, but you know, looking at an opportunity like a refinance, couple other great questions have come up here. Danusha's asking, and I'll put this out to Adele as well as Jessica. Experts in private lending. The question is, who would you say is an expert in private lending? Do you have anyone that you've worked with yet that you feel is an expert in that particular area?
To find the lenders or to teach?
Let's say, Danusha, I'm going to assume that you're going to say to learn how to lend out your funds. Let's use that as the assumption right here, to learn. And is it to learn to borrow funds, or is it to learn to lend funds, Danusha? To see if she was typing in right there, to learn exactly, to lend. Okay, so you've got available funds, right? You want to be able to get them out there and get them working. Have you found any experts in the field as of yet?
So she's, okay, for example, she's a lender and she wants to lend funds. She wants to learn about lending funds.
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
well, for example, I've worked with a lender who's lent his funds for a down payment on one of my properties, and we went through a trust company. That's what I'm trying to understand her question. Is it to look for lenders? Like Dave Dubois, for example, teaches how to find lenders.
I think she's saying if she wants to become a private lender, she has the available money, now she wants to be able to lend it out.
Okay, so she can work with somebody. Go ahead.
I think Karen Hayhurst might be the best. I know that she has a network, and she's done a lot of webinars on when you're the private lender. So that might be the best person. And she's a KeySpire member as well.
Yes.
So she would probably be the best person to reach out to for anything private lending as the lender.
So I'll definitely second that recommendation, and I know Darcy did as well. He put in Karen Hayhurst at Inspired Vision. So I had the opportunity, and it was a great honor. Karen and I were chatting, and she was hosting a one-day all about private lending. And very fortunately, I asked her, I said, do you have an MC? And she said no. And I said, well, can I come and do that role for you? Again, right, gaining information, gaining knowledge, networking with individuals. It was great for me, but also being in the room and listening to all those. So in the world of private lending in the KeySpire community, I know there's great lenders out there. I would say reach out to Karen Hayhurst. She's got great systems in place. She's got, knowledge, experience, and this is what she does. She really focuses her efforts on recycling her money and lending that out on a regular basis. So I would say most definitely. I also want to just catch up on a couple of things right here. So I know Chris Bucci's on the line. Chris and his wife, Sari, they're fantastic working partners as well. So based on Vancouver Island, amazing working partners. And with that being said, they finished up some great projects recently. So congratulations on that. But Chris, maybe you want to tell us just quickly a little bit about the benefits of where you are right now and what's going on in your particular market. I'll unmute you 1 second here. Do the unmute. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, first off, thanks for reaching out, and thanks for doing this. And I'm glad you're feeling better. Yeah, we just finished a new build. I'm actually sitting on the deck of it right now. And this one we just sold, and it's for sale, or sorry, it closes next week, which is great. So out here out west, right now on the island, cash flow is still working. We're more going to the new build purpose rental, because that keeps the cost down. About 2 years ago, you could find cash flowing properties everywhere. So outside Victoria, you'd buy for about 500 to 600,000, and they cash flow about $1,500 a month. Those prices have gone up into the sixes now, low sevens. So we're finding we have to build. So we're building purpose-built rentals, and yeah, we should be able to build for about 500,000-600,000. Refinance up to 700, so pull most of our money out, and they'll still cash flow $500 to $1,000 a month. Further up island, I know some people are doing flips in the Duncan area. Flipping seems to be working up there. Victoria itself, downtown's tough. Executive rentals and Airbnbs were really good. Obviously with COVID, the Airbnb has kind of had troubles. I know a lot of people are trying to find executive rentals now. I can't speak too much for Vancouver, but yeah, for the island, that's the main part. Purpose-built rentals and flips up in the Duncan area.
That's great, Chris. And I saw the other day that there was a clip of a tractor. It looks like you're clearing some new ground for your next build. So best of luck with that build. Keep us posted on where it's going. And then I'm going to reach out to you privately. I'd love to have you on to tell a little bit more about your story and some of the things that you guys have done over the past few years. So I'll do a reach out. We'll talk about that.
Perfect. Thanks.
Awesome, Chris. Yeah. So it's coming up to 3:30, everyone, and I'm trying to keep these within about an hour. And it's been great today. I mean, number one, I've really enjoyed chatting with Jessica and Adele, getting to learn a little bit more about both of you, your stories, your history, what you're doing. It's exciting. You can hear the passion, you can hear the drive, but the organization is extremely impressive. And for me, you know, the passion and the excitement, those are things that kind of can burn out quickly. But when you've got the right systems in place, when you've got the education in place, you've got the organization in place, now you know you're dealing with real professionals that you can go ahead and count on and trust and work with. So I'm going to wish you both the best of luck. I know that you don't need it, to be honest with you. You're going to kick ass either way. It's just going to happen. But I also want to open it up to everyone else right here. So we've had, you know, some good people listening on the line. I know we've had a couple of people. Yovanka, am I going to get that right? Okay, fantastic. She had messaged me just before we had started, and I said, please come on and join.
I know it's late. Sorry about that, but better late than never, right?
Oh, it's all good. I'm really glad you were able to join us today. But if you have any questions, Eve, were you raising your hand there? Was that a question that you were? No? Okay. Anyone have any questions, any thoughts, anything that's on their mind right now that we want to kind of get out there? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
For myself, I really am just new at all of this, and so it was really nice to just hear that people are, let's say, for example, doing organizing JVs, because that's something that's completely new to me. I haven't even really understood it all, and I may be reaching out to people just to see what can be done, because I just bought my first home actually, and it's a duplex, and so I wanted to start with the first house to be like, let's get it right, not right, but just, you know, a little bit ahead of the curve if I could, because I know I have so much to learn anyway, and it's sort of overwhelming, but I think that's because I'm learning, so I think it's a good sign. But definitely these names are I'm writing them down, and I'm going to be asking more questions, and so everybody looks pretty nice, so I think I can, so I appreciate that.
Most definitely. And you know, Adele touched upon it earlier, right? And it's one thing that I've found. I switched industries. I'm now a full-time investor, but you know, previous industries, it's competitive, it's cutthroat, there's information that's being held all the time. This is an area in industry that people collaborate and help you out, right? If you have questions, if you're not sure about something, you reach out, you get people that are willing to help, and they will share suppliers, you know, connections, even contractors. As long as their contractor's not busy, you know, they share them, right? And they'll help you out. Strategies, right? So it really is a community that you can really grow in. And, you know, to the point that Jessica and Adele have made today, it's about getting yourself out there in the community, asking those questions, and starting to find those engagements. You're going to find that the people that you like, you're going to kind of, they'll hover towards you, they'll kind of be in your circle, and you continue to grow that circle. And that's what I've done. That's what I've done. It's what I continue to do, and it's why I like to host this particular call. So congratulations on the duplex. That's exciting. Keep on going, and being overwhelmed is a good thing, because I've also learned that if you're comfortable, you're not growing. And it's nice to sit over and go, oh, I'm really, really comfortable. But guess what? You didn't do anything, right? You didn't do anything to push yourself forward and reach those goals out there. So I try and push myself to be uncomfortable. And that's when I know that I'm growing. Because if I'm just doing the same thing all the time, well, you know, it's only running the hamster wheel. So other thoughts, other questions from the group? Anything else going on? No.
I just saw Danusha's comments. She's got a list of comments. Good for you, Danusha. Keeping busy. That's fantastic. She's going to learn on all those topics.
Yeah. So Danisha says right here, zeroing in private lending, mortgages, promissory notes, and HELOCs. So I would definitely, you know, I definitely reach out. And as well, it was mentioned right here, Lori May. So Lori May Paroff, she's based out of Alberta. She's in Edmonton, an amazing private lender. I've done a couple of lending deals with Lori May. It's been excellent. I've endorsed her on the Keyspire community. It works really, really well. So, you know, I think if you reach out to the Karen Hayhursts and the, you know, those, you know, well-known lenders in the community, you're going to learn a lot. They're really going to help you along. There's no doubt about it. I want to do a couple of shout outs for people that I know have been really doing some great things. So I want to congratulate Michelle Ouellette, who's on the call with us. I know Michelle has been working really hard to be able to push her business forward. And most recently, she's had a great conversation with a potential joint venture partner that I believe has taken some traction. So congratulations, Michelle. You've been working really hard, and I'm really, really pleased, and I'm happy to see the success for you. So keep up that great work. I also want to congratulate Leanna. So, Leanna, I've had a chance to get to know her now. We've met a few times. She's just a wonderful lady, and her husband is such a sweetheart. But I saw them post the other day. They've got a new property, so they're amazing flippers. They do awesome work. The beautiful finishings, the design is fantastic, and it really comes from Leanna. So if you're interested in learning more about, flipping projects, that sort of thing, or if you're sitting on money and you want to be a quote unquote private mortgage holder, right? And I know you just posted about that either yesterday or the day before about one of your partners making great returns, 2,400 plus a month, something like that, then have a conversation with Leanna and say, what are the projects that you've got going on? I've got some money, I've got some funds, how can I put them to work, right? And see how things can come together on that. Let me see right here if anyone else just did investment with Lori May. Yeah, right here from Susan. She's saying it was a smooth and great experience, no doubt about that. And Jovanka's asking here, I'm following up from the rec group in Toronto. Anywhere else can find reconstruction? So I think you mean pre-construction opportunities right there. The rec team is fantastic, and they're going to have ones that aren't always advertised. So for example, January, we were in Summit. They put up a pre-construction at Yonge and Eglinton. My wife is a North Toronto girl. Before she turned around, I knew what she was going to say to me. And she dug into the details of that. It wasn't exactly what we were looking for, but Jazz called her back and said, hey, I've got another pre-construction condo. I think this is a little more towards what you're looking for. So talk to Jazz, talk to the rec team. Laura's great as well. And they'll give you some information on more pre-construction or projects that are coming up that you can kind of look at, do your diligence, and then decide to jump in on. For myself, I'm excited to get over this damn bug. Myself, along with Jamie and Leslie Collard, we're closing on my first multi-unit. It's a 16-unit multi in Aurelia, Ontario. That'll be happening May the 14th. So we're really excited. The whole strategy we're taking is we're doing a joint venture with them. There's two working partners coming together, but we've also employed the strategy of OPM, which is other people's money. So we've raised the funds privately, and we've had some great supporters. I know some of them are actually on this call, people that have invested with us. And it's a BRRRR strategy. So we're going to take the building from its crappy form right now. We're going to make this building gorgeous, beautiful, and bring it up to a standard that's really going to work well. We're then going to do a refinance on it. All of our partners are going to be paid back. They'll have all their interest, which would be fantastic for them. So all those people have made money with their money. So congratulations on that. We'll then have a building that will continue to spin for us and provide us positive cash flow on a monthly basis. And much like Adele and Jessica talked about, which is finding the people you can work with, learning, mitigating that risk, and moving your business forward. So this is my first multi-unit. Jumping into a 16 is a little bit bigger than I first thought, but hey, go big or go home. And then the vision is for us to continue to do this. So there's great ways to employ all these different strategies out there. And for people that are just starting off, people that are brand new, take your time, learn the community, ask the questions, do the networking. Jim's got a question, I think. Let's see if Jim's got a question. No question, Jim? No, you just wanted to wave. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. But reach out to the community, because it really can provide you the answers and the solutions. And most importantly, don't feel stuck. Don't get into days after days where you don't know how to do something and you feel stuck out there. There are so many investors that have hurdled everything that you might go through. So you take those investors, you learn from them, you take the pages out of their book, the best practices, you start to apply it, and guess what? You can move yourself forward in your business. With that, I want to say thanks, everyone. It's been an awesome afternoon. I really appreciate the time. It helps to pick me up with a little bit of energy and spirit. I want to say a big thanks to Jessica and Adele for joining us, for sharing your information, sharing your story, telling us about REI Vision. We're excited to see where it's going to go. And I wish everyone a really great day. Keep safe, keep healthy out there, and keep on working hard.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ray. Feel better.
Thank you so much.